you have this proof of concept, you get almost that 1,000 true fans we were talking about earlier. Not necessarily true fans, but you have this story to tell to investors.
Yes.
What is the story you tell them? Because I think it's easy raising money for, or there's no such thing as easy raising money. It's not a thing, but it's slightly easier if the concept's proven or there's a trodden path, i.e. chocolate. Like you can mark that against green and blacks, or a drink you can benchmark against a beer brand, you can benchmark against Camden Town Brewery, like bugs in a slimy bedroom in Cambridge. What is the story you're telling to investors?
That this is going to be huge, and this can be huge. And I mean, get loads of early stage earlier than us startup founders asking like, how do you raise money? Essentially, that first raise is, and to some degree still is, like, this is going to be a massive category. We want this to be taking massive market share from meat, right? And that's a massive market. If we become the next Beyond Meat, or the next This Isn't Chicken, or the next Corn, which is the opportunity, then we're all doing really well. Then it's about convincing them that you're the team to do it. So those are the two things that we were playing on.
So just because this will help a lot of people listening to this. So showing them the opportunity.
Yeah.
Showing them that you're the team to do it. How do you demonstrate that?
Well,
other than like just being yourself, right? Like,
yeah, and actually, like, a lot of it was just getting in front of investors and telling a good story and showing up, as if you meant business. Like, every touch point mattered, and almost treat an investor like a customer if you're trying to raise money.
What are some of those touch points that you think got you big clients? Sorry, not big clients, big investors. Maybe as an example.
How are you writing an email?
How would you do
that? Well, several ways, and it depends on who you're going after and how. But I want to say two things that are completely the opposite, but they both work.
Yeah.
Don't spray and pray. Like targeted email. Really love what you're doing, and this is all classic stuff, right? If you're trying to sell anything to anyone, it's got to be bespoke. It's got to make sense. You got to know why it makes sense. So you got to know what the victory speech is for them. Like, how are they going to their sort of investment committee and pitching you, just having that in the back of your mind, like this relationship makes sense and this is why. Just allows you to craft an email. I would say don't be too wordy. So our emails were really short. It might have been like 3 sentences sometimes. Especially, so this is the flip side, where we did spray and pray. We used a thing called linked helper, which is just automating LinkedIn messages. So you can scrape LinkedIn for anyone with like investor or VC or sustainability, in their name. It pulls together a list of people, and our message was just super short. It was, hey, brackets, first name. We're an edible insect startup looking to raise X amount. This space is projected. So then the opportunity. This space is projected to grow 16x this decade. 16x growth, like massive. And we are on a mission to take bugs mainstream. So it's just setting that you get them thinking immediately about the opportunity.
So it's fascinating. So a couple of things on that is think about their victory speech. And I think this is true with retail buyers as well. Is so someone, I think it was Lucy from Nice Wine. She said, I think it can be so easy to think about what you want as a founder. Think about, how do we make our buyer famous?
Yeah.
So how do we make our buyer, when they're doing the Tesco awards, oh, this is the buyer who brought in YumBug. This is the buyer who brought in Nice Wines. This is the buyer who brought in kombucha. How do you make them famous? I think that's really valuable. I like the whole spray and pray thing is interesting. It sounds like something dodgy, but the completely...
It works. And like, obviously as a founder, you've got no time. Yeah. So I would say the best ROI was linked helper, standardized message, that works.
And the mission. That was the other thing. Amelia from Bold Bean Co, who's also raised a lot of money, she would just, to get buyers and to get investors, she would just say, this is our mission. Mission is the bridge between is kind of like the umbilical cord between you and the investors. It's the language you both understand. They've obviously had a mission where they've sold. You've got a mission. It's like if you can put the word mission, and like who doesn't want to hear about mission? It's often a sentence. Totally. Often it's a mission bush.
Well, not quite the mission bush.
Yeah.
Because then there'll be like a 1,000-word essay.
Yes, sure. That's fascinating. So you get the money on board, and then what are the real painful steps when you're like, I just want to give up, like on the kind of tumultuous, treacherous road to creating this alt meat, essentially? Because I think so far it's been all like
up and up,
and like now I've got this restaurant in Finchley and doing Pizza Pilgrim. Like, what are the real dark days where it's just been like, oh, why am I fucking doing this?
To be honest, fundraising is like, I think the toughest, because the very sort of you're right.
Yeah, I'm just sometimes I'm playing out with cameras.
No worries.
Yeah.
I mean, the very need to go out to fundraise says that you haven't got cash flow, right? So when you're going out to fundraise, you're the boat's sinking. Do you know what I mean? So I think any time having to do a fundraise is never fun, particularly because you're not focused on the business. You are, but you're not. You're not focused on creating value for customers. You're not focused on finding product market fit. You're focused on finding story investor fit. And I think those for me are the hardest periods, because it feels like stagnate. It feels more stagnant than when I can pull my time and put it into creating really great food for people, educating people, or creating great first experiences. Because that's where I think I need to be spending my time on like podcasts like this, like educating people. So, and there's been a couple of fundraisers. So going through those peaks and troughs, dealing with investors can be tough sometimes. People several times have committed money, or like, great, we're over the line, and then they retract some for whatever reason.
How do you deal with that? Is there, and maybe not give names, but is there a particular poignant or potent moment where that bubbles up a feeling of like being stung?
It's a really good question, and I think initially, early on, it hit me harder when this happens. But I feel very fortunate in having the mindset that it's all progress, if that makes sense. So the fact that this particular investor is still investing is still fucking amazing. If you asked me, 6 months before, if I were to get X person on, this investment firm or individual for $5,000, versus the X amount that they committed, I would have been freaking ecstatic. And I think a lot of, hi there.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel, and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.